Hi. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Nathan, and I just want to clear the air for a sec. I'm actually not a senior. I'm technically a junior, but I'm graduating in May, and I'm going abroad next semester, so these are my last 6 weeks here. Technicalities, right, Tom? So a little over a month ago, I was talking to Tom in his office, and he asked if I'd like to give my testimony tonight. The prompt he gave me was, how have you been molded by God here at Gordon? I thought this was going to be really easy. For those of you that know me these past 3 years, I would hope you would say I'm a completely different person from when I first arrived, especially since I didn't make the best first impressions here on campus. Just to give you an idea, one night stands out in particular to me, and I'm going to refrain from using all names except one, Brian Imke. If that doesn't give you an idea of the shenanigans that's about to occur in this story, I don't know what else will. So probably 2 or 3 weeks into school, I met some friends through orientation, and they invited me to go watch a movie with them in Evans. I hadn't hung out with them before, and after this night, I probably shouldn't have hung out with them again, I'll be honest. We ended up watching a Harry Potter movie, and within probably an hour, we got on the topic of my feet. This will probably be way too much information for most of you guys, but my feet used to molt. Like the layer of skin on the bottom of my foot would just peel off in just layers. It was terrible. So not only did we end up talking about my molting feet, but somebody may have dared Brian to eat some of the skin directly off my foot. That somebody was definitely me. Long story short, though, Brian didn't actually eat the skin off my foot, thank God, but he was so close to doing it that it might have happened, honestly. So that's just one of my great first impressions here at Gordon. I could go on, but you probably don't want to hear those stories. Surprisingly, I'm actually still good friends with all the people in that room, even though they probably shouldn't have hung out with me again. If you ask one of the people there, they would say after that night they had no intention of hanging out with me, which I don't blame them. I'm sorry, it was too good. Based off memories like that, I thought it'd be easy how I've changed here at Gordon. I thought I could say something along those lines and bring up more funny stories like that and explain how those instances shaped my existence here. I thought I could say something pretty generic and still sound godly. But unfortunately, God didn't let me do just the generic tonight. I highly believe that God talks to me in dreams. This past summer, as well as this semester, I've had too many dreams where it just seems like God is directly trying to say something to me. I'll wake up with complete clarity from these dreams, and I'll have new direction and insights for my life. This might sound strange to most of you, but the night that Tom asked me to do this, I actually had one of these dreams. But before I get into that, I have to give you a little bit of background on my life. First of all, my family is very emotionally distant. For example, when my parents dropped me off at the airport when I was first coming here, well, first of all, they dropped me off at the airport and did not come with me. And my dad, instead of giving me a hug, he gave me a pat on the back and said, "Have fun." So my family doesn't really use the word love very often. We refer to it as the L word sometimes. And just to further explain how often it's used, the one time I said it to my sister while I've been here at Gordon, she was going away for a 2-month mission trip. I said it to her, and I got a long pause and the word "what" in response. But all that in mind, I know my family loves each other to death, and that's why I can say these things, because especially when we do say love, we really mean it. And to go on, this summer before the semester, my long-term girlfriend and I broke up, which is honestly still hard, and the weekend before my dream, my dog got eaten by a coyote, so... And my lovely apartment mates also lost visitation, which was icing on the cake. I remember that tonight. So in my dream, I had just come back from winter break and I was in my room. My room was changed up just a little bit, but I didn't really take notice at first. One of the first things that happened was my mom came into my room holding my dog, and so obviously I was in shock because my dog is dead and still is. But she just said in my dream my dog needed surgery, but was fine. Here's when things start getting a little bit more messy. My dad comes walking into my room with a huge stack of books, 15 to 20 books. And said, "Nathan, while you're here, you're not going to be reading the books you brought from school. You're going to be reading these. These will be the best for your life, and when you're done with these, I'll get you more." If you guys know me, I actually really enjoy to read. But that's as long as I can choose what books I'm reading. So this was a big fat no. At this point, I'm sad to say that I actually got a little bit irrational in my dream. I mean, do you guys ever get irrational in dreams? And by saying irrational, I mean I responded the way I would love to respond in real life if there was no social ramifications. I started yelling at my dad, "Who the heck do you think you are?" And I yelled a few more colorful lines, but Tom said I couldn't say those things in chapel. So, oh well. At the end of my rant, I yelled at my dad, "Get out of my room and get out of my life." This was a pretty sobering moment in my dream. I could obviously see the hurt on my dad's face, but he accepted and silently walked out of my room. After a moment, my mom, apparently oblivious to what just happened, said, "Nathan, did you see what was on your walls? Your dad put them up for you." This was an instant silencer for me. If any of you have been in my room for these past 3 years, you'll know that I've hardly had any decorations, nothing to make my room feel like home. It was only a few weeks ago I put sheets in my bed because I thought it'd be a waste of energy to keep my sheets on my bed for such a short amount of time. And pretty much the only personal object I have other than books and clothes is this mug. So I have sparse decorations to say the least. So looking around at my walls in my dream, nothing stood out to me. I mean, there are only things you can think of in a dream. I mean, some things were made out of tin foil and cardboard. I'm pretty sure another thing was made out of a milk carton. But none of these things had meaning to me, except my dad put them up for me. Still looking around, my mom took something off the wall and brought it to me. She said, "Your dad thought you might like this one too." It was my senior prom photo of my ex. For the past 2 years here, this was the only photo I had in my room. This is my favorite photo of us. Seeing this, I instantly just fell forward sobbing. I don't know when I woke up that day, but I finally realized I was just crying in bed. It wasn't the memories that the photo brought up, but it was every demonstration of love that my dad showed me in my dream. And I had just kicked him out of my life. That morning, I was a complete wreck. I got out of bed, and I literally just cried in the shower for about 30 minutes. I didn't go to chapel. I don't even know if I went to classes that day. I really just did not know what to do with myself. I knew that was just a dream, but at the same time, it wasn't. Unfortunately, I can draw very close parallels with that dream in my life. Even now, I've never been closer to God. I realize how far away I am from His goodness. I pick and choose what parts of Him I want, and if I don't like a plan for my life, I give Him the same tantrum I gave my dad in my dream. I raise a fist to Him, and I shout at Him. When I get this way, I don't remember all the great things God did in my life. I don't remember all the milestones hanging on my walls. And when I'm shown pictures like that, when I'm shown memories like that picture, I choose not to look because I know how I'll react, and it's not good. Going back to that conversation with Tom, I remember him saying that if we're following God's will for our life, we have to be ready to buckle our seatbelts. At the time, I was in complete agreement, but maybe I shouldn't have been. It sounds so perfect. Just buckle your seatbelts and let God take you where He wants. But if we actually think about that, we're letting God take us wherever He wants us to take us. And that should scare us. That really should scare us. And we say that so many times, and we just say it as if we believe God's in control, which He is. But we don't actually live our lives as if He was. Looking back, how has my life been molded here at Gordon? Painfully. Through tears and restless nights, many lost friendships, depression and sickness and hardship. In hindsight, I wouldn't change any of it. But whenever these trials came, I would just raise my fist at God. When we go through these times, we don't realize how good our Father's plans are for us. And we certainly don't realize the hurt that we throw in His face. Being here, I've become such a different person than when I first stepped onto Gordon's campus. I have realized who and what are important to me, But however, despite these changes, I know I'm not done being molded here at Gordon, and that scares me. It scares me a lot, to be honest. I have no idea what God will do in these last 6 weeks here on campus. And when I'm gone, I don't know how he'll change my life for his glory. For all of us, we have no idea where we'll be in 6 months. We could be here, or we could be halfway across the globe. We have no idea what God's plans are for our lives. The key phrase is, we don't know. And I think that's all right. I believe that God gives us just enough of a glimpse for our futures that we can keep kindling our passions for him. When Tom asked me how I've been molded here at Gordon, I don't think this was the answer he was looking for. I think he was expecting me to tell what I've been molded into, not the realization that the process of being molded is nowhere near done in my life. And being up here, I don't think it's wrong for me to admit that I can be completely estranged from God sometimes. I think I can admit this because I know whenever these times come, God is always there drawing me back to him. At the end of my tantrums, in the silence, I know that God is there, and he is constantly trying to draw me back to him. And thankfully, through his love and his presence, I can always say at the end of the day that God is good. So just be open to what God can be doing in your lives, you guys. Thank you.